Hi, good morning. It's Councillor Glen. It is Saturday morning. I think it's July 31st, last day of July. Today I'm at Bradley Commons Park. It's in the Abbotsville Crossing neighborhood on Cranesbill Road. The closest cross street is Triangle. So if you go down Abbott Street, head down Abbott Street eastwards, as if you're heading towards Terry Fox, say, if you're coming from the main part of Stittsville. And then you're going to turn left on Triangle, then left again on Cranesbill Road, and you'll get right here to the brand new Bradley Commons Park. It opened officially on Thursday, and I had a chance on Thursday evening to bike over and check it out. And is there anything better than seeing kids playing at a park the very first day that it's open? This is just a beautiful park. As you can see, I'm on the basketball court right now. There's a net on both sides. There's a splash pad over here, quite a large splash pad, one of the bigger ones we have in Stittsville now. And then the park is train themed. So I don't know how well you can see it over my shoulder there, but there is a tractor play set, and there were kids just climbing all over it the other night. The other neat thing is here, just beyond the park, just at the park's edge, there actually is a farm field. So a really nice tribute to the agricultural roots of our community. The other thing, it's not open yet because we still need to give time for the grass to take root and to mature a little bit, but this is going to be the site of Stittsville's very first cricket field. So I know there's a lot of cricket players in our community, particularly in the Fernbank area, Blackstone and Abbotsville, and happy to finally have a cricket field close to home that people can play at. So that'll be opening probably next year, if not the year after, depending on how the field goes. So Bradley Commons Park. The other reason I wanted to be here is this is one of 3 locations where the city is now accepting your comments on proposed commemorative naming. So for this park, there's a proposal to rename this as Bradley Craig Park in honor of the farming family. The Bradley Craig barn, of course, is the big red barn on Hazeldean Road, and this would have been a part of their farm originally. So the idea is to name this park Bradley Craig Park. There's 2 others. There's Bob Mills Park. That's for Atlas Park, which is, again, kind of close to Abbott Street, but closer to Terry Fox. A new park hasn't been built yet. Atlas Park being proposed as Bob Mills Park to pay tribute to a longtime recreation and parks director with Goulburn Township and later the city of Ottawa. And then the 3rd spot is the trailhead at Stittsville Main Street, where the Trans-Canada Trail, or Great Canadian Trail, crosses the path, crosses the street. There's a new trailhead that was built 2 years ago now, and the proposal for that is Bradley Square to recognize the Bradley family, longtime business owners here in the community, and their contributions to the life of Stittsville. So you can find information about all of that on my website or at ottawa.ca. There's a 30-day comment period right now where you can comment on Bradley Craig Park, Bob Mills Park, and Bradley Square as new commemorative namings in our community. Okay, I have a couple city updates first, and I have a whole ton of local updates. First of all, on vaccines, this morning we're at 84% of the population 12 and older has had their first dose, and 71% have now had their second dose. We're starting to see a bit of a flat line or a plateau with that first dose. So Dr. Etches, I know this week, has been talking a lot about the strategies that they're using to get up to 90% for the first dose and just make sure we get as many people vaccinated as possible. One of those strategies is mobile clinics. If you have a workplace, a place of worship, a community group, and you would like Ottawa Public Health to visit with one of their mobile vaccination teams, you can go to ottawapublichealth.ca, and there's a form you can fill out or a phone number you can call, and you can ask to have Ottawa Public Health come out to your workplace, church, place of worship, wherever it may be, to come right on site for you. So what a great idea from Ottawa Public Health, getting right up and close to people in the community. The other thing in the city is we have an ongoing strategy around anti-racism, and the city is establishing an anti-racism advisory group, and there's a call out now for members. So if you'd like to participate in that, go to ottawa.ca and you'll see all the information, including the application form to join the anti-racism advisory group. All right, local updates. We have been sharing a ton of information at glengower.ca. My team and I, we've been adding updates, adding posts, adding information. So I'm going to go through relatively quickly on these. Go to my website to get more information. Village Square Park, the next round of consultation is open. We did the first round last year. Very clear from your comments that you wanted to keep a rail theme. And you also really like the park that's there now. In fact, many people said, don't change a thing. So the intention is to update the wooden play structure with something more modern, more play value, more accessibility. We don't have a final design for that part, but what the consultation is up now is basically on the landscaping. There's going to be quite a bit of work to improve the space around that play structure, and then we'll likely do a third round of consultation once we have a more finalized design for the play structure itself. But it should be a really, we want it to be a unique and special spot that people from all over the community and even beyond Stittsville want to come and visit, because that's really how it functions now. So it's important that we build on that for the renewal of it, and that reconstruction and renewal will be happening next year in 2022. If you live in the Blackstone neighborhood, you might have seen a lot of trucks and equipment around the Vic Whittaker Pond. That's the stormwater pond behind Cavison Street, kind of between Cavison Street and Cope. They are doing sediment removal. So every 5 years or so, the city has to go in and remove sediment that accumulates along the bottom of the stormwater management pond so that it can continue functioning properly. In this case, the pond is still under the ownership of Mattamy, so it's Mattamy who's doing the work under the supervision of the City of Ottawa, but you're going to see some equipment in there, and they'll be removing the sediment. The sediment goes to some holding areas that are established along the edge of the pond. The sediment dries out, and then they cart it away in vehicles and dispose of that sediment. So that's at the Vic Whittaker Pond. Also, if you live in the Fernbank area, you might be interested to know that starting this fall, bus routes 167 and 252 are going to be slightly rerouted. Currently, they're using Robert Grant Avenue. Now that Cope Drive is completed all the way to Terry Fox, they're going to start using Cope Drive. So it'll bring the buses, it's a more efficient route, and it'll bring the buses closer to people. And this is an evolution. As more and more roads get built in the community, the buses will have a more efficient routing. So you're going to see more of that, particularly in the Fernbank area. So that's Route 167 and 252. Again, you can find the new map on my website. The draft official plan for the City of Ottawa, the city staff have started to publish the next iteration of the draft. So you can find, I think, 12 or 13 chapters right now on the city's website or at engage.ottawa.ca. And you can see also how the plan has changed. We've had a ton of public feedback. So they have a version that has the redactions and the changes tracked. So that's something that you can see how public feedback is affecting the evolution of the plan. St. Stephen's School has been the recipient of a $10,000 grant from the Parachute Program. Parachute Program's an organization that helps improve safety around schools. So we're going to put some of that $10,000 towards traffic calming around St. Stephen's School on Overland and Stittsville Main Street and Kimpton and Bandelier as well, I believe. And it's one of a number of initiatives we're undertaking in Jackson Trails, particularly along Stittsville Main Street and Kimpton, coming up this year and in future years as well. Richcraft has submitted a application to build some stacked townhomes at 620 Bobolink. That's on the west side of Robert Grant Avenue, right along Robert Grant, next to Bobolink. And also the city has kicked off the environmental assessment for the future Stittsville Main Street connecting from Jackson Trails to Palladium Drive, and also the widening of Huntmar Drive north of Maple Grove. So the environmental assessment looks at what are the possible routes, what is the configuration, how do they consider the homes and buildings that are already there, and what's the best way to build those roads in the future. Now the actual construction is still a few years off, but this environmental assessment is the first step in the process. I've shared some information on my website, and there'll be an opportunity for public feedback as well. The EA process itself takes about 18 months, so quite a lengthy study in order to consider all the factors before these roads get built. We published some information about dog parks on my website. There are a number of parks in Stittsville where dogs are allowed off-leash, some where dogs are allowed on-leash, some where dogs are not allowed at all. So there's a map that you can see on my website with all the locations. Also some information about some ideas on how we could establish some more fenced dog parks as well. So if you're a dog owner, you might want to check that out. And it seems like more and more people own dogs these days. So I think having spaces for dogs to play in outdoors is going to become more and more important as we continue to grow here as a city. We're still getting lots of calls about Bell utility work, particularly in Wildwood and in Crossing Bridge. I think maybe I'm at the risk of sounding like a broken record. Bell is responsible to restore your property, your driveway and your lawn to the original condition. If you're not satisfied with the work that they've done, they would have dropped off a card in your mailbox with contact information for the contractor. You can call that contractor. If you've lost that card or you're not getting a response, contact my office and we'd be happy to connect you with Bell, or if necessary, connect you with one of the city's inspectors. We want to make sure that people can get the help that they need if they're having issues with that utility work. The federal government requires municipalities like Ottawa to allow the utilities to do this work in the right of way. So the first few feet or meters of your property is where Bell's allowed to do this work. So they are allowed to do it, but the city has a number of conditions about how the work happens and restoration and so on. One of the penalties, I guess, that we have is if a contractor or Bell does not do this work properly, the city can withhold their permit for future work. And so that's a pretty good incentive for them to do the work properly. And it would be Bell in its entirety, not just one contractor. So if Bell doesn't fix things, then they could have some serious consequences. So far, Bell has been fairly responsive when we've raised resident concerns. So please do get in touch with me if you're having any issues dealing with Bell. We've also been continuing for the last week our Green Parks initiative at Stitt Street Park and at Timbermere Park. We're asking people to carry in and carry out their waste. And so far it's going very well. We've had park staff just checking out every morning to make sure that there's no garbage accumulating, and it's going very well, actually. We're going to continue that pilot until the Labor Day weekend into early September. And thank you everyone for your cooperation. A reminder that if you do have dog waste, it's not supposed to go in park garbages. You're supposed to put it in your compost bin. If it's bagged, it can go inside your compost bin. And of course, your household garbage can't come to city park garbages either. Household garbage has to be picked up by the garbage trucks on your weekly pickup. The last thing on my website I'll mention, we have a great profile of Carrie Thomas. Carrie has been very involved over the last year and a half around sewing protective equipment for people in our community, for frontline workers, but also for just anyone who needs access to protective equipment. And Carrie has also a fascinating hobby of restoring old sewing machines. So thank you, Catherine, for my team, for doing the interview and writing up the article. You can find that on my website this morning. I think I will stop there because that's a lot of updates, and there's a loud moving truck that's arriving at one of the homes here. It's the long weekend. I hope that you have a chance to get out and explore your community and enjoy all the great recreation spaces. Maybe you could check out the splash pad and play structure and basketball court here at Bradley Commons Park, or one of the many other parks or natural spaces in the community. I will not be doing a video update next Saturday, and basically our office is taking a break over the next week just to give my team a bit of a mental break from everything going on. It's been a very busy few months, so if you are looking to get in touch with us, if it's an urgent matter, please call 311 this week. Otherwise, we'll be happy to follow up starting the week of August the 9th. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Take care.